This one is the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the astronaut for telling my brother-in-law to pay me $700 for my lost coat when I bought it for $100? Oh, was it on sale? Last year, I was at the mall with my fiance when I saw this awesome cashmere wool coat. It was perfect in every way, and there was only one left in my size. The best news was that it was on clearance for $100, so I bought it without a second thought. It was on sale. I have worn it several times last year, but it hasn't been cold enough for this year for me to break out the coat. Last week, when I saw the news about the upcoming cold front, I decided it was time to take it to the dry cleaner so that I could wear it this week. After tearing all of my closets apart without seeing it, I asked my fiance if she had seen it. She told me that she hasn't seen me wear it in a while, so she lent it to her brother to wear to a wedding. I was annoyed at hearing this, but decided not to make a big deal, so I simply told her to tell her brother to bring it back so I could get it dry cleaned. Thursday rolls around and he hasn't brought it back, so I asked her about it again. Nothing. Come Friday and I haven't heard back anything, so I called him. He said that he told my wife on Tuesday that he got drunk at the wedding and lost my coat. I was super annoyed at this, so I told him he owes that exact coat from that exact brand. Last night, my fiance came home from work in a mood and handed me $100. She said that her brother dropped off the money and I shouldn't have made her brother pay for a coat since I knew he doesn't make very much and I haven't worn it but a handful of times. I looked at the $100 and told her I wanted a replacement coat or the amount it currently cost so that I can buy a new one and that $100 won't cover it. She said he went to the store and it costs $700 now, but she knew I only paid $100 for it, so she told him $100 would cover the cost. I argued that $100 doesn't buy me a new coat. We went back and forth, but couldn't find any common ground. She offered to throw in an extra $100 of her own money and said sarcastically that I'm coming out ahead. I argued that I'm still out of coat and nothing will satisfy my loss except for a replacement coat. She argued that I don't have to have the exact coat and that I can buy a similar one with $200. She thought I was being ridiculous and called her parents on speakerphone. Of course, they sided with her children, and her dad tried to say that a man shouldn't be so hung up on a coat. I told him that a man replaces what he loses. So now they're all mad at me for wanting to make a profit from their son and inferring that he's not a man. Am I wrong for wanting the same coat as a replacement? An important point is that they didn't ask to borrow it. She did it without his knowledge, right? And this is a girlfriend, wife, fiance, but he said brother-in-law. So fiance took it without his knowledge, without his approval, and lent it out. So there's problem number one. Then this thing happens to it, and brother-in-law apparently doesn't relay that back immediately until fiance presses for information about where the coat is, and then withholds that information from her fiance. So there's another strike. That's not good. And then the whole argument about, does it cost to replace or what do you owe the normal cost, the normal full price cost, because that's what it would cost to replace it right now. I was kind of 50-50 on this until accounting for them taking it without approval. And then him withholding the information about losing it, or the fiance withholding the information about losing it. I think those two shifty things lean it more toward they owe the full cost of replacement here. I also was trying to think about if he had insurance on this coat, would it insure it for the amount that he paid for it when it was on clearance, or would it insure for the amount that it would cost to replace it? And I'm fairly certain it would be the amount to replace the exact item, correct? The fact that he took it, the fact that the fiance took it without asking is really what turns this whole thing upside down. If it had been he agreed to let someone borrow it, it might be a different conversation here. But I think it is, if he wants that coat and they took it without permission, they have to replace that coat. And if it was an insurance thing, replacement cost is what insurance factors. So I think that's what they have to do. Now, this being your fiance might sway that a little bit. So if you gave any grace to this situation at all, it would be because it was your fiance that made this decision. So how hard do you want to press it, knowing that you have this relationship to uphold in whatever condition you want to uphold it in? That would be the one thing that might sway this a different direction, but that's a personal choice, right? The right and the wrong here are, it was taken without permission, it was lost, replace it. And yeah, that sucks that it's a lot more expensive now, but it is what it is. Now, if I was the fiance here trying to get OP to decide differently, my question would be this. If this coat had been $700 when you found it, would you have bought it? Not to say that's the right thing, but if I was trying to sway him a different direction, that would be my angle.